there, Gabe here.
And Johnny.
Okay, first I'll just give a disclaimer that this is not, by any stretch, a super solid theory. But if you play Breath of the Wild, you know that it's packed full of references to other Zelda titles, from simple outfits to important pieces of lore. There are even some locations that are stripped right out of other games. I'm sure you were just as surprised as we were when we encountered the Spring of Power and realized it's the ruins of the Earth Temple from Scarlet Sword. And the same goes for the ruins of the old Lon Lon Ranch in Hyrule Field.
By now, you probably heard that the secluded Lurelin village, located in the southeast corner of the map, is a recreation of Outset Island from the Wind Waker, the hometown of that era's Link. Although one not so obvious if you don't pay attention. Yes, Outset probably was set on the top of a mountain, given that the world was completely flooded in the Wind Waker, and Lurelin is facing the wrong direction. But geography in Zelda has always been a bit all over the place. Believe me, we know what we're talking about. We did an entire half-an-hour video about it, so it could still be the same exact village, or at least a reconstruction of it where their descendants live.
It is a small fishing village with not many people living in it, and one day I was looking closer at their similarities. The mountain path leading out of town, the docks with a shopping boat where Beetle's shop used to stop, going uphill where you would get the house with the pig pen, there's now a fenced area with a couple of Hateno cows. And then I started wondering why the most obvious landmark, the viewing platform, was not quite where it should be. That's when I noticed a character, whom I had even spoken to a few times, but never given much attention.
This is Roselle, an old fisherman and apparently the village elder. You can usually find him every day gazing at the ocean from the edge of the pier, practically below the viewing platform, or in the closest house if it's nighttime or raining. Take a closer look at him. Bushy hair, green clothes, and being in this village, doesn't he resemble a certain hero of the wind? Not only that, if you talk to him, you discover that the nearby raft station by the docks is his. And that was it. Found a single very interesting resemblance and started to overanalyze everything about him, and found many coincidences. Suddenly it made sense as to why the watchtower was not at the end of the pier like in the Wind Waker. In Breath of the Wild, NPCs don't climb stairs, so it was moved a bit out of the way, so Roselle could come to the same location his ancestors liked to hang out and just enjoy the view.
There is yet another very interesting similarity that supports that Roselle could be a direct descendant of Link from Wind Waker. When you reach Hateno village, among the many people who live there, you can meet Ralera, a young woman whose job is to watch the windmills. How fun! Her work is to literally watch the wind. If you talk to her, you'll learn that she moved from Lurelin village recently, after getting married, and that her father is an old man who used to go raft fishing. Ring any bells? Since he is the only old man in Lurelin, and owner of the only raft in sight, yes, Roselle is her father. And if you look closely, Ralera's hairstyle is very similar to Tetra's and her mother's. And Tetra is the one the Wind Waker's Link would most likely have descendants with. And by the way, her husband, Rhodes, has a similar hairstyle to the Hero of Time.
Family trees might be even more complicated than timelines when talking about Zelda, but if he could be who we're assuming he is, let's try it a little. After the events of the Wind Waker, happened all of Phantom Hourglass, which was fun and all, but the details are not important now. And then came Spirit Tracks, where we meet the Princess Zelda, confirmed to be the descendant of Tetra, and based on many other characters in the franchise that look just like their ancestors, the hero of this era could very well be descendant of the Hero of the Winds. But given that they didn't know each other before the game started, there could be an extra degree of separation by instead making him a descendant of Ariel, the Hero of the Wind's sister. She did refer to the watchtower on Outset as Ariel's lookout, so maybe this place was more important to her than to Link.
Okay, so far it was mostly visual resemblances and the place where he spent his days. But the first time you meet Roselle, he also mentions some sunken treasures and gives you a side quest to find them in the Golden Triangle in the sea, which turn out to be the spot at the center of 3 islands. Does that remind you of anything? Finding sunken treasures from the depths of the ocean in the Wind Waker? And even the pieces of the Golden Triangle, the Triforce of Courage itself, hidden around the Great Sea? And very interesting calling such a landmark as a golden triangle in a game where the Triforce is never even mentioned.
And now, it's just my personal opinion, but since all the links seem to have the blood of the Knights of Hyrule coursing through their veins, although every link is not necessarily related to each other, and in some cases like Ocarina of Time and the Wind Waker are explicitly stated as not related, there's still a possibility that the current one and Roselle could be distant relatives and not know it. Even if you disagree with everything else we pointed out, just remember that everybody is related if you go back far enough.
And that was it for now. Do you think Roselle may actually be a descendant of the Hero of Winds? Tell us what you think in the comments below, along with what you'd like us to talk about in the future. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
And if you want, you can click here to watch our full analysis about the latest trailer of Breath of the Wild sequel, or here for the last actual theory about the history of the Gerudo.
See you next video.
Bye!